This is something people have been requesting for a long time. Stories from deep within the Appalachian Mountains. Here are 3 true stories submitted by viewers who had terrifying encounters in those woods. It was a quiet Friday evening last October. Midterms were finally over and I just wanted to vanish for a couple days, clear my head, get away from the noise, from people, from everything. So when my cousin Jake texted me out of the blue, "Cabin's empty this weekend. You in?" I didn't even hesitate. By 3 p.m. we were packed. By 4:30, we were halfway up some back road that didn't even show up on Google Maps. By 6 o'clock we were there. His family's old cabin, tucked deep in the Appalachian Mountains, right near the Virginia-Tennessee border. A place where time moves slower, and the trees don't whisper. They listen. The cabin looked like it hadn't been touched in years. A little crooked, a little too quiet. But when the sun hit the forest just right, it looked peaceful. Too peaceful. We built a fire outside that night, kicked back with a few beers, some music, and just caught up on life. It was chill. Felt good. Until we heard it. A low, soft humming. Not music. Not wind. A woman's voice. Not singing, just humming. Soft and slow, like a lullaby played on a broken record. Jake turned toward the woods, eyes squinting. "You hear that?" We paused the music. Nothing. The humming stopped. We both laughed it off, told ourselves it was just the wind through the trees. Maybe the fire messing with our ears. We didn't know yet. That wasn't wind. The next morning, we hit a trail not far from the cabin. Jake had been there as a kid, said it led up to a ridge with a view that makes your soul shut up. But about 20 minutes in, we saw something strange. Tied high up in a tree was a bundle of bones. Deer bones, maybe. Clink. Arranged in a spiral, held together by what looked like twine or sinew. Like someone had built a symbol. Weird, yeah. But we kept walking. Then we saw another. Then another. Every couple 100 feet, bone symbols hanging like warnings. Jake slowed down. He wasn't joking anymore. "Dude, this ain't right." I told him maybe it was just some weird local ritual thing or hunters messing around. But the deeper we walked, the quieter the forest got. No wind. No birds. No bugs. Just the sound of our boots crunching dead leaves. That's when we saw him. Or a tall figure. Standing between 2 trees, maybe 50 feet away. Still. Too still. Wearing a ragged, old hunting jacket. Something covering his face. Looked like bark or a mask made of twigs. Jake called out. "Hey." No response. Not a twitch. Not a breath. Just standing there. We turned around. Tried to keep it casual but picked up the pace. That's when the humming came back. Except now it wasn't distant. It was right next to us. Coming from the trees. All around us. Close. We froze. Then we heard it, twigs snapping behind us. Jake turned. The figure was now just 20 feet behind us. Same spot. Same silence. Just closer. I don't remember yelling. I don't remember grabbing my bag. We just ran. Full sprint. Through branches, thorns, roots. Heart pounding so loud I couldn't hear anything else. We didn't stop until we were inside the cabin. Door slammed. Locked. Lights off. And then we sat. The humming didn't stop. It circled the cabin. Soft. Patient. Like it had all the time in the world. It stayed out there for hours. When the sun came up, it was gone. No sound. No signs. No footprints. Just a dead silence that felt heavier than anything I've ever felt. We didn't say a word. Just packed. Got in the car. Well, Jake told his dad what happened. His dad just sighed. That's why we stopped going there. I don't know what we saw. I don't know what wanted us to see it. But I know one thing for sure. It wasn't the first time it's been there. And we weren't supposed to come back alive. Story 2. It was the summer of 2018. I had just gotten out of college and decided to take a solo road trip through the Appalachian region. I was somewhere along the Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina when I pulled over at a small, unmarked trail. There was no sign, no parking lot, just a dirt path leading into the trees. I thought I'd go for a short walk, clear my head. Maybe 30 minutes in, I stumbled upon what looked like an old mine entrance. It was hidden behind a collapsed wooden fence and covered in vines. But the weird part? There were fresh boot prints in the mud leading inside, big ones, maybe size 13 or 14. Against better judgment, I followed them inside with just my phone light. It wasn't a mine. It looked more like an old railway tunnel, maybe 200 feet long. As I got about halfway through, my flashlight glitched out for just a second. And that's when I heard breathing. Deep, heavy, and slow, like something was just ahead of me, waiting. I froze. My light flickered back on, and for a split second, I saw what looked like a crouched figure, pale, long-limbed, and facing the wall. I turned to bolt back the way I came, but I slipped. My phone clattered to the ground and the light pointed behind me. That same figure was now standing, much closer. It was tall, maybe 7 feet, and its arms looked too long for its body. It didn't chase me, just watched. I scrambled out, ran to my car, and peeled out of there without ever looking back. Later I looked up that area, and apparently there was a railway there in the early 1900s. Collapsed in a fire. Over 30 workers died. Some locals still talk about the long man in those hills. Whatever I saw, I think it used to be human. Story 3. This happened back in 2020, right in the middle of lockdown. My girlfriend and I were losing our minds stuck inside, so we decided to escape. We found this small cabin deep in rural West Virginia, nestled in the Appalachian foothills. No cell service. No internet. Just books, board games, and a fireplace that smelled like old ash. It was supposed to be a break from the chaos. A quiet retreat. It wasn't. The first night was fine. Quiet, even peaceful. We made dinner, drank a little wine, fell asleep with the windows cracked open to let in the cool night air. The second night? That's when it started. Around 1:30 a.m. we heard footsteps on the roof. Not a scurry. Not a shuffle. Footsteps. Heavy, slow, like someone taking their time. We tried to brush it off, told ourselves it was raccoons or maybe a deer had somehow made its way up there. But then came the scratching. Long, deliberate drags across the wooden roof. Like claws testing the surface. Like something enjoying the sound it made. I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m. I got up to use the bathroom. The cabin had a tiny window above the toilet, eye level, facing the woods. And that's when I saw it. A hand, pressed against the glass. Not human. Not even close. The fingers were too long, bent in strange directions. The nails were thick, black, and cracked like old stone. The skin looked gray, almost see-through, stretched tight over bones. I froze. Couldn't breathe. Then the hand twitched, just once, and slid down the window, leaving behind a smear I still can't explain. I backed out of the bathroom, yelling for my girlfriend. By the time we both looked again, it was gone. We locked everything. Windows, doors, even the attic hatch. But then, maybe 20 minutes later, we heard it again. Thump, thump, like something landing on the wooden deck outside. I peeked through the front window curtain. There was someone, standing there. But it wasn't right. No eyes, no mouth, no features. Just skin stretched tight over a bald, blank face. It turned slowly like it knew I was watching. Then it tapped on the glass. Once, twice, and vanished into the trees. We didn't sleep. We waited for sunlight, packed our bags, and left before 7 a.m. Stopped at a gas station about 10 miles out. Told the old guy behind the counter what we saw. He didn't look shocked. Just nodded and said, "Some things out here never left the old world." I didn't ask what he meant. Didn't want to know. But I still see that hand in my dreams. And when I wake up, sometimes my windows are fogged over with smudges I didn't make.